Afternoon, folks. I'm Dave Canterbury with Suffer Alliance Outfitters and the Pathfinder School. What I thought we'd do today is, this last weekend when I was in Arkansas at the Jasper Jeep Jam, I did a couple different seminars, one on Friday and one on Saturday, and they were both the same seminar, just repeated. And it was a seminar on building a pack to walk away from your vehicle. So why would you walk away from your vehicle? Well, there's lots of reasons for that. If you drive in on a road and something happens to your vehicle, say 15K in, and you can walk 5K an hour, then in 3 hours you can be back to civilization or back to help if something is wrong with your communication devices and you don't have a way to communicate with someone. Maybe you're in an area like I'm in now where I've got SOS mode on my phone and I don't have a way to send someone a message, and I'm on low ground, and I don't have a radio that can reach someone necessarily, or I can't raise someone on the radio. I may want to walk away to civilization to get help if I'm able. And that's just one easy scenario. There's lots and lots of reasons for that. Obviously, if it's an emergency and you're trying to acquire rescue, staying with the vehicle is going to be your best option because it's the largest thing you have as far as being able to be spotted by rescuers. And if you've got ways to push a button to get rescue, like a PLB, then it's always a good option to stay with the vehicle if you can. However, again, there are lots of reasons to walk away. And that's kind of what I want to talk about today. And I want you to take this in context and say, well, what if this, what if that? Because, nobody's going to steal your pants. You're never going to be naked and afraid. You're probably not going to throw your backpack over a cliff. So most of the time you're going to have the things on your body. You're going to have the backpack that you walk away with to get help or to get out, to find help, and to get your vehicle taken care of. All right, this is all vehicle based. So if we are recreating in an area, and it doesn't matter if we're overlanding, camping, fishing, hunting, whatever we're doing, and we're driving our vehicle to a remote area off-road, this scenario applies, okay? So there's lots of different bags that we can discuss: inch bags, get home bags, bug out bags, this bag, that bag. To me, a bag's a bag, right? What I want something that is small enough that I don't mind carrying it, something that's light enough weight that I don't mind carrying it, something I can walk away from the vehicle, just grab it and go, throw it over my shoulder and start walking. And it has the things in it necessary to get me through the next day or two that it may take me to get out. Maybe I'm walking away and I can't get out in one day or one afternoon, and I'm gonna have to do one overnight in the woods to get out or something like that, okay? I wanna have those things, bases covered in this pack, but I don't need to get real elaborate with that. I think we overestimate what we're gonna have for a simple scenario or a simple situation. And so let's talk about this in weather like right now, okay? It's getting down into the high 30s, it's getting up into the 70s. So the weather's not too terribly bad to where a fire can't keep us warm if needs be, as long as we've got something to keep the rain off of us and the wind off of us. And so we don't have convection problems, and we don't have rain issues getting us wet. If we've got those things taken care of, it's pretty simple. In my courses, I teach the basic level students that survival can really be encompassed into three very simple things. Don't bleed out, don't get too hot, don't get too cold. If you control those three elements, you're going to be okay, all right, for the most part, barring traumatic injury, all right? Again, that's an extreme scenario. We're not talking about that right now. So let's take this 25 liter Go Ruck pack. We'll go over the outside of it first, then we'll go over the inside. The weight of this is well under 20 pounds, and that's wet weight, well under 20 pounds, okay? So it should be easy enough for you to carry this. Now, I want things on the outside of the pack that I'm going to need. One thing that we should understand about this scenario or walking away from a vehicle is, if we drove in, we should know the way out, or at least be able to ascertain that by looking at a map and take the route out that we took in. That's going to be the safest route, most likely, the least likely for us to get lost or injured from mechanical injuries in the forest and things like that, the least likely for us to run into predatory animals and things of that nature. But we're always going to walk away from the vehicle with the firearm that we carry, right? So if I'm walking away from my vehicle, the firearm's not staying there, it's coming with me. So just leave that where it is, and you can decide that for yourself. But what I do want is, I want to make sure that on the outside of this pack are the things that I can get to immediately if I need to. The first one really for me always is the Garmin InReach, okay? a Garmin inReach that is fully charged and turned on, obviously. I can hit the SOS button on that and let someone know that I need help. I can also send messages on this that will go out whenever the satellite service is available to someone like my wife or a loved one and say, hey, I'm in trouble, or hey, I'm okay, or hey, I need this or I need that. I can plug those messages in here. It's a little bit of a pain in the butt, but it can be done if your cell phone's not working. Obviously, your cell phone is your number one form of communication, but you should always have, secondary and tertiary devices at your disposal, especially for communication in the short term. So this Garmin inReach goes with me everywhere I go. The other thing that's on the outside of this pack, again, we talked about controlling bleeding as our main concern. How likely are we to get a bleeding type injury walking down a dirt road? Pretty unlikely. But if we have to camp, step off the trail, something like that, use tools, it's possible. So I always have a first aid kit on the outside of my pack. It's a very simple affair. I'm going to walk through it with you real quick. I don't want to make this video as long as the seminar was, which lasted over an hour. But I want to cut this down to 30 minutes or less, so we'll kind of go through it fairly quick. But all I'm really concerned about with this first aid kit is immediate bleed stop. So this is the first aid pouch that we sell on our website. This is the one that all my instructors carry. It's the one we use at the school. I have 2 of these. This one lives on this pack. It's very simple. It has a combat application tourniquet on the bottom that's always accessible on the outside of the pack. On the inside, you can rip this completely off of here if you need to walk away. But on the inside of this, it's very simple. There are 2 Schlichman wraps, which basically will equate to pressure dressings, ace bandages, wound dressings, all of those types of things. There is a cravat here, compressed gauze. There is an emergency space blanket here and an air-based air pad, which is good for 1 or 2 uses and about 1.9 R value that blows up in 2 or 3 breaths if you've got to get yourself off the ground or stay off the ground for one night, and some hydration tabs. It's a very simple setup. There's not a whole bunch of Band-Aids and gauze and extra stuff in here. This is mainly for bleed control or controlling body core temperature, not getting too hot, not getting too cold. I do have a roll of duct tape on the side of this pack, a 1-inch roll of duct tape. Lots and lots of Band-Aid, bandages, and things of that nature can be made with duct tape and compressed gauze or ripped up t-shirt. So this doesn't have to be a complicated affair, all right? So that's on the outside all the time where I can get to it. And we do sell a kit very similar to this on our site, or you can build this kit off our site if you choose to by buying most of the components separately. The other thing on the outside is my compass, all right? I've always got a compass on the outside of this thing just for quick navigation needs. I don't want to take my pack off if I don't have to. I want to be able to grab it out of there, wear it around my neck if I need to, and not dig for it if I'm looking for a direction. Again, if I'm walking down a dirt road, I should be in pretty good shape. If I have a cell phone, I should be in really good shape. If I have a GPS, I should be in really good shape. If those things aren't working, the compass, along with a map that we'll talk about in a minute, is very important, all right? But remember, if you can go out the way you came in, it's going to be your best option. Inside this front pocket, I have 1 rapid deployment ridgeline, 30 feet of paracord with loops on it and things like that for a poncho style tarp. That just lives right there in the front so I can always get to it. And that is my cordage if I need it. All right, so breaking into the inside of this pack, again, I like to keep things as simple as possible. This thing opens all the way up so I can get to everything very easily, but it doesn't have a whole bunch of extra pockets. It's got 1 pocket here, 1 pocket here. Very, very simple, all right? I have a water bottle, cup, lid, and a spoon in here. That's made out of stainless steel so that I can put this in fire if I need to. I can cook in this. I can eat out of the cup, all those types of things. This is my cook kit and my water, okay? I have a very simple filtration kit in here that works well for me. What I've got in here is a bag. That's a 2-liter bag. That's a hydro pack. This is my dirty bag. It can be hung on the outside of the pack to dry out, things like that. And I've got a Sawyer filter in here that's got a pop top on it that I can take off if I want to for gravity and things like that. It's got a connector on it for the hydro pack, so I can use this as a squeeze bag to squeeze water into the water bottle, all right? I also have a platypus in here, and this is just a backup that fits directly on the hydro pack, but it's a backup to the Sawyer in case it gets clogged. It doesn't take up a lot of room, so I just throw it in there and keep it there. I also have the adapter for the water bottle, so I can just gravity feed if I need to into the water bottle while I'm in camp. And a piece of cordage in there for hanging the bag. Very, very simple kit for disinfecting water that doesn't take up much room, and I just keep it in this mesh bag inside the pack. Very simple, all right? So there's my water, hot water cooking done, okay? I've got 2 meals in here. Again, is food necessary for a day, day and a half, an overnight? No, it's absolutely not. But it's easy enough to stash a couple meals, freeze-dried meals in here and have that luxury and not take up much room or weight in the pack just by sticking them in that mesh pocket very easily, okay? I have one Helicon poncho in here. This is my cover element, whether that's going to be something I'm going to walk with. Okay, remember that we are on the move. If we're walking out, we're not planning to camp. It's inconvenient camping if we have to stay. This is my shelter option if I need it, but it's also my rain guard and wind guard on top of something else I would be carrying on my person. So I just took this whoopee off because I was getting warm, okay? And I could jam it in the pack, tie it to the outside, wrap it around my waist, whatever the case may be to thermoregulate. But having that layer of warmth, having this layer of waterproofing and windproofing, and having this bag, which is always at the bottom of my pack, that has a full set of merino wool long base layer, a sleep cap, and a wool gaiter, and a pair of socks, gives me the ability to get warm if I need to, layer up if I need to get myself warm, all right? That's a very simple system for sheltering from clothing to putting up a quick shelter if you have to. Now, if you're gonna sleep on the ground, obviously you don't have any kind of air mattress other than the one we talked about in the first aid kit, and if I have to use it for that, I will, okay? I always carry a radio. This is an F8HP, an 8-watt radio. It's got programmed into it already all of the repeaters for the areas that I'm going to be operating in, plus the national call frequencies, as well as GMRS. Antenna, charging cable, all right? And I have a brick that I'll show you in a minute to charge it with if I need to. This just gives me that advantage of if I can get to high ground somewhere and call for help, if everything else is dead, I can do that, and it doesn't take up hardly any room at all to stash that in the pack, okay? It's very, very easy that way. So I just keep all of that stuff right here in the top. I do have a saw tucked in the back. So I have my belt knife. I always have my Swiss Army knife that has paste beads on it and a quickie flashlight in my pocket. And I've got my belt knife on. The saw just gives me a tool in case I need to start a fire that I can cut wood with quickly. It tucks in, it doesn't take up much room. It's easy, all right? That's the mainstay of the inside of this pack. There is one pocket here on the outside at the top that's got stuff in it that I can grab and go pretty quick just by opening the top of the pack. I don't even have to open it all the way up to get to it, okay? All right, so I have a hygiene kit in here. It's very, very simple. It's got several wet wipes in it, a mirror, some painkiller, things like that. Again, is this a big necessity? No. Is it a convenience? Yes. Does it weigh very much? No, it weighs 8 ounces. No big deal, right? Okay. I have my headlight kit, which has got my headlight, my brick, and my cord. It's a Pathfinder headlight, all right? And I've just tied a shock cord to it. And I've got it in a separate Dyneema pouch here. Right there it is. And I just put a shock cord to it so I can wear it on the outside. The thing I like about this light, the thing I like about it the most is that you can, once you turn this light off, if you push down both of them until the light beeps red, now it's locked out and it acts like the battery's dead and it won't light. However, it's not dead. It's just locked out. So there's no chance of turning this on by accident in my pack and I'm going to run the batteries down. That's really kind of the key to that. And then I kind of keep it in a separate pouch altogether for that reason as well. So if buttons get pushed and things like that, it's not as likely to happen in a separate pouch. And then I have 2 cables in here. A spare cable is always a good idea. And a brick, okay? That's pretty much all that's in this bag. But that brick will charge my radio. It will charge my Garmin. It will charge my phone. So everything that I've got is USB-C, including this headlight, and that brick will charge all of them if needs be for that short period of time, okay? I always keep a notebook and a pen in here. I always have a map of the area I'm operating in here. That's very important. Don't rely on just your GPSs. Make sure you've got a paper map. Make sure you've got a compass with you. In case you have to navigate off trail for some reason, it's always going to be a good idea. I've got a lighter in here in an Exotac waterproof case for fire starting. I also have a ferrocerium rod in here for the same reason, okay? That pretty much covers everything in this pack. It's very, very simple. It's very easy. It's convenient. It's easy to remember what's in here and where it's at. And everything in here really serves a purpose. And I think that's the most important thing about putting a pack together is that everything you carry serves a purpose. It's not going to weigh enough that you don't want to carry it. And it's going to cover all of your bases to not bleed out, not get too hot, not get too cold in the short term. All right, this whole setup is very similar to the same pack that I use as a teaching pack when I'm teaching students. It's got everything in it that I need to do the things I have to teach students basic survival skills like fire starting, shelter building, navigation, and things like that. All the same things that I carry with me personally on a daily basis. All right, guys, I didn't want to drag this video out for a long period of time. Again, the seminar was about an hour at the Jeep Jam. Hopefully this will be less than 30 minutes. I appreciate your views. I appreciate your support. I thank you for everything you do for our school, for our family, and for our business. All of our sponsors, instructors, affiliates, and friends. I am quite busy right now. I actually have a class starting tomorrow. It's full, sold out, Bushcraft 101 at the school. And I leave immediately after that for Florida for a sold out Everglades camp and a couple hunts before the camp. I come right back and I'm going to teach another class as soon as I get back. I believe it's a navigation class. And then I have to go to Pennsylvania for the NESMIC event. So right now we're back to back between classes, events, appearances, and things like that. But I will shoot videos as much as I can to get content out to you guys in the meanwhile. Again, thank you for everything you do. And I'll be back as soon as I can with another video, guys. See ya.